All right, it's time. We have now hit the project where you design your own game and you kind of start it from scratch and you build it and you program it, and all of the Game Lab stuff that we've been doing has been leading up to this. So what I want to do first here is take a look at, this is 60 pointer here, and you'll use the Game Lab to create your original game. You'll have to dream it up and then program it to the best of your ability. I'll help as much as I can. But that's what this has all been leading up to. All right, so here's where the points come from. Points are going to be assigned as follows. Game stability is worth 20 points. Does the game work? Or does the code crash at any point during the game? The game has to work. You can't, I can't hit the run button and have an error pop up and not have the code work. So that's pretty important. The game has to actually run. All right, so next up. The concept of the game, 10 points there. And what I mean by the concept is, can I understand it? Is it something that if I play it for a little bit, I can catch on to, okay, I see how this works. I see what the object of the game is. I see what I'm trying to do. Is it user-friendly? Does the concept of the game play out well? All right, next one, worth another 10 points, gameplay. Can I control it? Can I continue to play the game for a little bit? If you set up a game where after the first 5 seconds it's over, or if I hit a key and the player just runs away and disappears, and well, that's not fun, right? So I got to be able to play the game. I have to be able to play it for a little bit to try and win. Is there an appropriate level of challenge? I also don't want it to be something where, okay, if I click a button, a car goes across the screen and it goes off the other side and game over. Well, that's not a game. There's no challenge in that. There should be a little bit of challenge in this. I got to try to do something, try to score some points. Try to excuse me. Sorry, I had a little coughing fit there. I'm back. All right. Can I lose or win the game? And there should be an end to the game. There should be a point to the game. Score a certain number of points and I win, or lose a certain number of lives and I lose, or fall off of something and I lose. There should be an end of game kind of thing. All right. Code organization, and that's a 5-point thing. Can I read your code and figure out what you were trying to do? Can I understand what you were trying to do? Sometimes people write code and you look at it and you think, what in the world are they even doing here? And I ought to be able to read your code and understand, okay, I can see where you're going with this. Use of functions. All right, in the last couple of lessons, we have learned about functions. I'm going to ask you to create at least one. You don't have to create a whole bunch, but you have to create at least one function in your program and use it. You have to call it. You have to create it and call it. And then effort. Tim, did you use the time? Like if you're done in 5 minutes, you didn't try very hard to make something very original. So you're going to have probably 3 class days to work on this. So put a little work into it. But when the game is all done, whenever that is, you will do the whole thing that we've always done all the way through. Share, copy the link, attach it on Google Classroom, and turn it in when it's all done. So that's a rundown on how this is all going to be graded. Next thing I want to show you real quickly, I'm going to hop over here to Photoshop as my fake whiteboard here. And let me just check that color's good enough. So we're good there. All right, so I want to show you how I sat down and I tried to think, okay, what kind of game do I want to make? And here's what I decided. I thought, all right, so I'm going to make it so that like all of the game screen area is like water here. All right, cool. But then I want there to be like this kind of bridge-like thing that goes across the water. So let me kind of shade that in. So this is almost like a moat. You've got a moat with a drawbridge that's laid down here. And then over here is like this, I call it the castle. My game is called Defend the Castle. So over here is like this wall that I'm pretending is like the front wall of the castle. And you've got water all, everywhere, except this is a bridge right in here that goes across the water. Okay, I could make my brush bigger and kind of. So this is a bridge that goes across the water. All right, and then we have these enemies. There's two enemies that come this way, and what they want to do is get to the castle. They want to make it to the castle, and they're coming at the castle, and they're on the bridge here, and they're coming at the castle. And there is also a kind of a defender, a piece, a game piece that's called the defender. All right, and as these enemies come toward the castle, the defender can come out and meet them and push them off. All right, so the defender, I thought I want to make a game where the defender can push them off into the water. Right, and if the defender successfully pushes the little enemy thing off into the water, then that scores a point. But if a defender gets through all the way to the castle, we lose a point there. And you'll see when I show you my game here in a minute that there's a winning and a losing. If you get to a certain level, you win, and if you lose too many points, you lose. You're done. So I've got this game piece here that pushes the enemies and tries to push them either off of the edge of the bridge. The edge of the bridge is like right about there. And if he pushes them off the edge of the bridge and into the water, or off of this edge of the bridge and into the water, then you get a point. But if the enemy gets through, no, that's bad. You lose a point. Okay, so that's a messy diagram of what I thought, okay, here's what I want to do. And I kind of really did that. I kind of sat down with a piece of paper and sketched it out and thought, okay, I'm going to try something sort of like this. And it was just me thinking on paper. All right, and then I went to work on it on code.org. All right, so let's just run it a little bit and see how this works. Now you see how my game piece can push the enemies. I'm using my arrow keys to control my player, and I can push the enemies. Oh, that one's going to get away. All right, and you'll notice that I made it kind of hard on myself because every time, I'm going to lose. Oh, the castle has fallen. Because if I get to -5, I lose. But if I get to 10, I win. But here's the hard part about the game. Every time the enemy touches the castle, you lose 2. It's -2. But if you push an enemy off into the water, you only get 1 point. So it's harder to get points than it is like for the enemies to do their job. The speed of the enemies is random. So some of them are slower, and it really helps when they're slower. Look at me, I'm up to 6 points. Could I win this? I'm getting some slow enemies here. Could I win this? Oh, no, don't. Can I catch him? Oh, I can't catch that one. I'm going to let him go. All right. It's nerve-wracking, isn't it? Isn't it nerve-wracking? Oh, well, that one got away. It's hard to catch up with them once they get past you. Oh. You have to get 10 points to win. This could do it. I just won. Look at that. All right. So I control my player with my arrow keys. I can push them off of the bridge. If I do push them off of the bridge, I get points. If they make it to the castle, I lose points. And -5 loses and 10 wins. So now let's take just a quick look at my code, and then I'm going to be done, and off you go. At the top, there's a whole bunch of, I created all my sprites. I've got the defender, which looks like a little chess piece. Got enemy number 1, enemy number 2, and they're all just set up with some velocities and all that kind of thing. And there's I built a wall that is the castle, right? It's really it's not much. It's just, actually, did I even wind up using that? I don't know. Here's the main part of the program, and you'll notice that I organized almost all of my code into functions. Like I've got a function here, and I'll show them to you quickly. I got a function here called GameBG. That's just for the background. That's all it is. And down here, here's the function. Right here, a blue background, and this is where I drew the wall that kind of is the castle. That's all that is. That's just, and I drew the bridge, I drew the castle, I drew the bridge, all that kind of thing, right? You'll notice I'm going to run this one time. Look down at the bottom. It says arrows to move, push the enemy, score of 10 wins, score of -5 loses. Those are kind of instructions for the game player. So I've got a function call right here that says instruct, and I've got a function down here that's called instruct, and it just is text, right? It says those things. Okay. The next function that I made was called displace enemy, because I wanted my game piece to be able to push the enemies. All right, well, here's the function. That's all it is. Defender is my little gold game piece, and enemy 1 and enemy 2, right? And that's where I set it up so the game piece would be able to push the enemies off the bridge. It's displace that makes that work. All right, what else do I have here? Move defender. Okay. Well, that's my game piece, and so I needed him to be able to go up, down, right, left, and so that's all this is. If you press the up arrow, if you press the down arrow, if you press the right arrow, if you press the left arrow. So that's all that is. That's just moving the game piece in order to defend the castle. Scoreboard. I have a function called scoreboard, and then way down here, here's the function, and that's just the thing that's keeping track of the score up in the corner. The text is white, it's size 24, it's monospace, and I'm just keeping track of the score. That's all that is. All right, now push enemy 1 and push enemy 2. Okay, well, a couple of things here, and they're very similar. If I push enemy 1 up off the top edge of the bridge, that's less, the Y is less than 140, I get a point, and the enemy has to respawn back on the left-hand side. If I push him off the bottom edge of the bridge, which is a Y value greater than 260, I get a point, and the enemy has to respawn. All right, and this is the same thing for enemy 2. If I push the enemy 2 off the top edge of the bridge, I get a point, respawn, and if I push him off the bottom edge of the bridge, I get a point, respawn. All right, so those are two functions that take care of all of that. All right, now let's take a look what's next. I've got only two more functions, one called touch castle and one called end game. All right, so let's go down and look at them real quick. I'm almost done. Touch castle takes care of the situation. All right, so what if the enemy gets through? What if the enemy makes it through and actually touches the castle? If enemy 1 is touching castle. All right, so I lose 2 points on the score. That's where I made it harder, right? I made it so if the enemy gets through, I lose 2 points. And the enemy has to be respawned back over on the left-hand side because I want the game to keep going. All right, so we're resetting the X, resetting the Y, resetting the velocity, and you can see how I did that. And then it's just the same thing for enemy number 2 here. If the enemy number 2 touches the castle, lose points, reset. All right. And then here's my big in-game thing down here. If score is greater than 9, I changed the background to black, set all of the enemies and the defender and everything invisible, set all their velocities to 0, and I put a text message on there. Right, you have defended the castle, well done, and that is if the score gets bigger than 9, which means it's 10. All right, and the other thing that happens down there in the end game is if the score gets less than -4, which would mean it's -5, it's the same kind of deal. All of the enemies go invisible, the defender goes invisible, the castle goes invisible, all the velocities stop here, the enemy 1, enemy 2 velocities stop. And you get a message that says the castle has fallen, game over. All right, so that's all. Those are all of my functions, and you don't have to have that many functions. You know, this is me organizing my code the way I want to organize my code. You do have to have one function, at least one function, somewhere in there, and I can help you with it if you need it. But that's my game. Now, guess what? It's time for you to go create yours. Good luck. Off you go.